Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum. In today's episode, I'm going to do a book wrap up of the last 5 books that I've read. I'm a very slow reader, but if you're not new here, you know that I'm a huge supporter of indie horror writers, and I will likely never be caught up on reading, but I want to shed some light on some of the stuff that I've been posting about reading, things that I've been really excited to read. One of which will have a link to a conversation because Steve and I have already covered it, but I still wanted to mention it. So the first one that's going to be up is Cutter's Deep, which is the, I believe, debut novel by Ronald McGilvray. So Ron is a friend of mine. He's been on the channel before. We joke that he's like the #1 fan for Found Footage Fridays. He's an amazing asset to the community, super big supporter, always sharing stuff, hyping other people. I have both of his collections. James, I always mess this one up. James Adventures in Dreamland or something. I think it's Adventures in something like that. And which I have for my son. And then I also have Tales from the Parkland, which I also have read some stuff on back when I did the podcast. But anyway, this is his debut novel. Down a lonely stretch of highway stands the deserted and desolate town of Cutter's Deep, except it's not as desolate as it seems. In fact, there's quite a lot going on behind its decaying facade, and for those unfortunate to find themselves within its shadow, it's almost always deadly. Within its guarded walls lives a young man named Arlington Woods. He is about to meet an outsider who's going to trigger something hidden deep within him that might just destroy Cutter's Deep and the rest of the world with it. I won't do spoilers. I'm not going to do deep dives. So I absolutely loved this book. This book took me forever to read because I'm a slow reader and this is really long, but I mean, not in the most complimenting of ways. I need to take that bookmark out because I'll be looking for it, wondering where it is. This story is one of the wildest things I've ever read. Like one of the things that I need when I'm reading something, because I am such a slow reader, is I have to be kept engaged. And this had me from the first 2 pages of the book all the way to the end. There is little to no lull in this. It is just wild thing after wild thing after wild thing. It's very, I would say, like sci-fi horror in some elements. It's got monsters, it's got witches, it's got bad people, it's got like, a small town energy. It's got a bunch of stuff going on. The characters are really easy to get invested in, and I really enjoyed this. It's super fast paced for it to be 356 pages. But I will say this, I was super happy with the movement of this book. It reads almost like a movie. It's just very fast paced, and I really enjoyed it. If I had to compare it to some things, it's going to be other media. So it kind of reminds me of like The Mist, but like probably more so the TV show than the movie, which I don't know why people don't like because I loved the show. It also reminds me of that show it's got a lot of really mystery, weird, crazy small town stuff going on, but all in all, really good read. And again, it's 350 something pages and it reads like it's 50. Like, it's such a fast-paced book, and I really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to whatever his crazy mind comes up with next. So that's Cutter's Deep by Ronald McGilvray, and I'll put everybody's links and stuff in the script for this episode. This next one is the YA early reader that Steve and I got for the Terror Valleys Volume 1, School's Out for Never, which I will put a link in the cloud somewhere right here. We did a spoiler conversation and just a general conversation about the book with the author, Squall, who is a friend of Steve's. So I'm just going to read you the back really quick. Freddie and his classroom friends are stoked for upcoming summer break. Endless hours at the pool, sleepovers every night, staying up late, and of course, no homework. That's what he thought was in the future. Once 3 o'clock rolled around, but instead his day, sorry, there's that not for resale thing, and I can't read through it. His day starts over again and again and again. No one believes Freddie, not even his friends. But the teachers seem meaner each day. The tests are getting harder and harder, and worst of all, the cafeteria food is especially bad. It's only getting worse with each passing day, and it's being served on repeat for the rest of his life. Horror, suspense, and laughs await you in Terror Valley. This is book 1. This is what I would call like a must read for middle school grade kids. So like the other 2 kids in my life, one is 10, the other's 11. So 5th and 6th grade kids. I am trying so hard to get them to read, or I'm going to like push to see if they want to read this, because this was such a phenomenal story. And even in someone in my 30s, I could resonate with what this book was getting at. A lot of really emotional things that I didn't expect to feel from this. It's very funny. It's very realistic. And it's got some mystery and some suspense things in it. This was really, really well crafted. And I 1,000% will continue to support the Terror Valley series. He's already working on book 2. Can't wait. And that's Terror Valley School's Out for Never by Squall Charlson. Sorry for the stall. My washing machine started making a weird noise and it freaked me out for a second. I apologize. Okay. So the next book was one that I pre-ordered. And y'all have heard me talk about this one. And that's Revenge Arc by Kat Valor. Kat Valor is a friend. We have a series that we do on the channel. She's done other stuff on the channel. We have other things planned for the channel. But I started following Kat because she's an indie author. And she's been in some shorts. She's been in both my livestock anthology that we did and part 1 of the bathroom anthology, That Old House, the Bathroom. But this is her debut novel. And I'm going to flip through it. I don't want to give too much away, but I am going to flip through it in a second. But I'm going to read the back first. Riley Langdon had never shied from extreme horror, especially not in her deep web revenge comic, Red. But now that a cult fandom has put her on a pedestal, she doesn't know how to respond to a mysterious death that too much resembles pages she wrote. As she tries to pick up the pieces of the life she's made for herself, the fandom turns against itself, and an obsessed fan attempts to make the deep web what he hoped it would be. Told in blog posts, chat logs, emails, and more, Revenge Arc blends horror and mystery for an unforgettable experience. Girl, unforgettable experience. Okay, so I'm just going to flip through. I don't want to give too much of the art and stuff away, but this is kind of the format. It's got, it's got some Discord server things, some Reddit things, some Twitter post. There's a graphic novel component to this, but I'm not going to share that because you need to see the art for yourself. It's got like role-playing setups, which if you've done online forums, you're familiar with that. Anyway, I digress. Beautifully formatted. The style of this is insane. I don't know how Kat was able to create such a full-fledged story like this with so many little pieces. I mean, literally, this is probably my favorite read of 2023. Actually, not even probably. 100% it's going to be my favorite read from 2023 as far as new. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's horror, it's body horror, it's statement horror, it's got definitely mystery components, thriller. There's some twists and turns in this that I think are going to catch people off guard, particularly towards the end. And I just, all in all, really loved it. It talks about toxic fandom, online culture, what that means, and just kind of the presence that we have when we're online and creating things. So 1000% recommend Revenge Arc. I have a bunch of these I still have to write reviews for, but I don't do star ratings, but this go read this shit. It's so good. The next one I got was a book that was sent to me by Elsie Marino. This is called Bury the Child. This is a novella, I guess is technically what it would be categorized. It's just under 100 pages. I'm just going to read. It's got a long synopsis on the back, so I'm going to read the bottom part of it. A parent should never have to bury a child. Within days of Adeline's death, Lydia's the mother, unexplainable events in the home, causing her to question her sanity and her ability to keep her marriage alive. With every passing event, the tension builds, and Lydia must navigate the paranormal realities of her home without compromising her relationship with her husband. Is grief driving her insane, or is Adeline reaching beyond the grave to reunite with Lydia? So Elsie sent this to me with a really sweet note in the front that says, Angel, thanks for being on the podcast and for all the fun you share in your creative horror universe. His podcast called The Suspense is Killing Me, which is a horror space. I'll have links to, again, all the socials and stuff will be posted below. But anyway, this was a great read. This is very quick, very, very much grief horror with some paranormal stuff. The ending caught me a little off guard, but I don't mean that in a bad way. This was a very enjoyable, quick read. So Bury the Child by Elsie Marino. And my last one for this video is another one this one I backed on Kickstarter. This is a fellow found footage junkie, T.W. Burgess. I apologize if I butchered. I think I did last time too. But it's called Mr. Howl. This is very graphic novel-y, but it's found footage based. So it says in the back, I don't believe in ghosts because ghosts aren't real, but whatever that is, I believe in that. Over 20 years ago, a life-changing injury confines 15-year-old Jay to his cramped apartment high above the city streets below. Tasked with recording his rehabilitation, the budding director immerses himself in the daily lives of the neighbors in the adjacent block, soon becoming engrossed by their routines. But after witnessing a terrible attack on one of the residents, Jay becomes intent on capturing as much evidence as possible on one tenant in particular, a howling, shadowy individual who seemingly only emerges at night, a figure Jay dubs Mr. Howl. So I don't want to give too much of the art away. I got this as one of the extras for doing the Kickstarter. I can never tell what I'm supposed to send this to or post it, or post it. But it's done. Oh, that's a good one. I don't want to ruin it. Let me try to find. I'm trying to find like a. So it's mostly done. It's got some articles, stuff. It's very. It's broken up in like screenshots with the pause screen, and then just the audio version of the tapes that this kid recorded. But it's a really cool story. I mean, it's very creepy. And I love the way that this was told, because I don't think it's easy to tell found footage in a format like this, but it was very smart to go the almost graphic novel way, because I think that these pictures really help paint a vivid picture of things where you look at them and they're so fuzzy and you're like looking to try to see what you can see. And you're like, oh, when you finally see things you don't want to see. This is really, really well done. I just finished this. Again, I haven't posted my reviews for quite a few of these. I intend to, I promise. But I really, really love this. You can still get a copy of Mr. Howl for yourself. Again, all the links for these will be in the bottom. This definitely took a turn in a direction I was not anticipating. You get really invested in the character Jay and the things that he's experiencing, not only as someone who is just recently bound to a wheelchair and is only 15, but stuff with his mom and his family life, and then all the things he's seeing across the street. And there's definitely twists and turns. I thought this was going to be like a really linear, straightforward story, and it wasn't. And so I cannot recommend this stuff. If you were a found footage fan, if you like graphic novel type stuff, definitely check out Mr. Howl by T.W. Burgess. Yeah, and so that's going to wrap up my recent reads for now. I'm going to try to do more of these. I think Steve is going to probably talk about some books as well. So, but yeah, that's all I have for this one. I have plenty more to read. My beautiful lady Love just gave me, what did she give me? The Song of Achilles to read. So I'm going to be putting a pause on my horror reads right now. It's because I'm going to read that because it's a really special book for her. So I want to make sure I prioritize that. But once I'm done with that, I'll be back into some horror indie reads and hopefully have a new video up probably maybe first of the year because I'm a slow reader. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out again and listening to my rants about these amazing books that you need to go check out. Links are in the description. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you in the next one.